Okay, so how it happened, I was working at the Voice newspaper then, and what happened was I met a gorgeous, lovely 6'2" man who looked like Thierry Henry, and we hit it off straight away. And then we had our first date in a lovely restaurant, and the first thing I said to him was, I want you to be the father of my children. So that's how it happened. So from then, we then had, went to have children, but he knew that I couldn't have kids naturally. So I had IVF. So my twins are IVF boys, and so the IVF started when I was about 26 and a half, 26, 27, and then it was successful the first time at the age of 28.
So being pregnant with my daughter was quite overwhelming, actually. It was really hard to actually enjoy, I guess. I can't really compare it to any other experience because I've only have one child, so there's no real comparison, but I can't say I enjoyed it because I was really overwhelmed and there was a lot of pressure. At the time, I had no job. I was doing my A-levels. I had nowhere to stay. My finances were peak. It wasn't looking great, actually. It wasn't looking great. So it was for me, it was just about, you know what, girl, you need to sort out your life now because you've now decided you want to have a child. So there's a lot that needs to happen.
Well, what is dating like for a single black mother? Black mother or just single mother? Single mother. It's very difficult because I think everyone has their idea of whether or not they think it's a good idea to introduce a new partner to your children or not. You know, you don't really want to have various partners being introduced to your children if you don't know whether it's going left or right. But at the same time, you want to know if they're going to be compatible with your kids and if your kids are going to like them and if they're going to, you know, how they gel with your children. So it's a bit of a weird one. And really, I think as a single mother, you are so busy. I mean, depending on the age of your children. I guess if you're working, your kids are older, I don't know, maybe they take care of themselves. But with me, my kids are really little, so I'm hands-on 24/7 with my kids. I barely have time for myself. So I have very little time for an extra partner. That necessarily doesn't mean that you can't be happy because you still want to feel like a woman and a person and you still want to feel like I'm sexy and I'm wanted and I'm, you know, but I think that, you know, the time will come for that when you kind of don't kind of rush into it.
Have I faced any stereotypes as a single woman or single black mother? Yes, but surprisingly enough, from black men. The comments would be, black woman or woman can't bring up a boy, you know, particularly in those days. And it was frowned upon by my generation at the time and the older generation. So that, yeah, there was a lot of criticism. And I suppose a lot of pressure to try and get back with their father because of that, and not because of my happiness, but because it's not, you know, it's not acceptable that you're able to bring up two sons on your own. But obviously, I proved them wrong.
So after I had the twins and I broke up with their dad, I was dating for fun. I used Tinder. It was quite cool. Swipe, swipe, swipe. But it's funny because you don't tell all your dates whether you have children or not, because that's not what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a serious partner. But then 2016, the summer of 2016, I went back on Tinder and then I met this guy, lovely guy. I told him straight away on the phone, you know what, I got kids. And he was like, oh, okay. He cancelled our first date and then he came back and then went on another date. And then we dated for a year and 6 months. But it was exciting and we're open. But what I realized about the relationship, that it was difficult for him and myself. He didn't have any kids and it's like, and he was half English, half Norwegian. So I'm dating this Nigerian woman with twins. How do I fit in as a white man? How's this all going to work out? And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. How's this going to work out? And yeah, we broke up a month ago. But the thing is that it was fun dating him, and I learned so much about myself and him. But now what I've learned by dating him is that you need someone that is willing to accept your situation for what it is, and that's strong enough to support you, because I can't be supporting him, supporting my children, supporting everything else that's going on in my life. I'd just be exhausted. But yeah, dating is fun. I wouldn't date this year. I'm tired and I'm healing from the pain. But I'll start dating next year.
Allah, Jesus. Hey, I'm just going to, okay. Dating. This is so funny. It is difficult because when you have a child, that's your priority. So you have to make sure that the person that you are dating understands that you have a child, and understands that your child also is, your child is an extension of you. Because a lot of people will date you, even though they know that you have a child, they don't understand when you are with me, and if you want a future with me, that includes my child too. And at the moment, I'm still single. I'm still mingling, and I'm not like rushing into anything like that. I mean, I'm just at a point where, God has my king there for me. So,
dating. I've only in the last year attempted to start dating, and I hate it. I really hate it. I just think, especially at the age, like I turned 30 last year, and I feel like me and my friends always say that at this point you're waiting for men to get divorced, because all the decent ones are in relationships or married, so you're just waiting for them to get divorced. So you're just sitting here going through emotions with a lot of crafts. And yeah, my thing is I work full time. So if I'm taking time out from my day to see you and not spend time with my child or to spend time with my family or whatever, it needs to be worthwhile. And there's a lot of people that just not worthwhile.
My name is Tina, and I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa. I've been here since I was about 16, 17, and I've never really wanted to lose my accent. I'm an African woman, always an African woman. I've had my kids here, went to college here. I like London. It's more a home to me than Ghana is.
Have I faced negativity as a single parent? Yes, both within the church and outside the church. In church, most people don't think I'm a single parent. I don't know why. They usually ask me, oh, Jay, we didn't know you were a single parent. I said, do single parents do they look a certain way? Because I don't know, is there a particular look they're supposed to have or carry themselves in a certain way? And then outside, when people do find out you're a single parent, they do tend to think that you are not capable. It's almost like it's your fault that you're a single parent. I remember a family member, an in-law, not my family, but he is an in-law, standing around and saying to me that before my marriage fell apart, actually, he goes, Jay, if this relationship fall apart, I know it's you. You're to be blamed. I was like, but he's a single parent. I wonder if he's to be blamed. So you do have a terrible stereotype. And not only that, when you read in the media and you hear about crime, they tend to claim a single parent home, and that's where the children are from. And so there is a stereotype out there that a single parent home raise children that cause problems within society. So you get it within church, you get it outside the church. But the current church I'm in is very supportive.
I think the biggest stereotype is that your child didn't come out of a relationship. I hate the term baby mother and baby father. I hate it. No one is allowed to call me anyone's baby mother or I don't like it. Because I just think there's so many negative stereotypes. Like, you're just supposed to be angry, you're supposed to be bitter all the time, you're supposed to cuss all the time, all you ask your baby father for is money and stuff like that. And I've never been that way inclined. I've always said that I won't ask anyone for anything. That's the kind of person I am. So I wouldn't want anyone down. And if you don't want to see your child, you don't want to see your child. If you don't want to pay, you don't want to pay. That's up to you. I make sure that me and my child are good. So I think people just automatically assume that
a lot of younger girls that are single mothers, they try to trap the dads, and it didn't work out, or it didn't come out of a relationship and they're just bitter and miserable. And I'm trying to just not be that and just go forward and be independent and be happy and just show her that there's positive things that can come out of it. And my child came out of love, so that's the main thing that I always want to show her. Like, me and her dad loved each other when we had her, so she needs to know that.
So anyway, went to my antenatal appointment and had my first appointment. And when I went in, it happened to be a midwife of the same culture as me. You know, like, I guess auntie to auntie, you just know before they even speak. So anyway, we sat down, and I just happened to find that the midwife kept on talking to my mum as opposed to me. But I just thought, you know, respect, culture, all that stuff, even though this is like your medical stuff. But so anyway, she just speaking to my mum, oh, you must be happy, etc. My mum was like, yeah, I'm happy to be your grandma, etc., etc. And then my mum happened to have a phone call when she left the room. And then when she left the room, then that's when the interrogation happened. And then the midwife then brought her chair closer to me and was just like, so how do you really feel about this baby? How do your parents really feel? So what are you going to do about the baby? And I just didn't know what to say. I was sort of like, is this actually happening right now? And I guess now it's kind of like, I can feel the person I am now, I have so much confidence in myself, I don't think that could ever spin. But the child, to be honest, the 17-year-old girl I was at the time, I just didn't know what to say. And I was just thinking, Mum, where are you? Can you come back in?
It has shaped me greatly, because when I look at other families in this country who are suffering because of their children being in bad company, I don't know how my children would have turned out to be. They were good, but in this country, bringing them back, I don't know, being a single mother with no father figure, especially for the boys, I wouldn't have been able to probably control them. When I say control, not in a bad way, but I wouldn't have been able to shape them positively the way they've turned out to be without religion. It's played a big role in our lives.
I think there's a lot of negative stigma on this whole baby mama. So I think as soon as people would be like, oh, that's, you know, oh, that's the baby moms, and that's, it's weird. I can't put it into words, because I remember when I did, for example, season 1 of That Chat, and I just mentioned that I've just, I just separated. At that time was like a year. People, obviously, you know how social media is, they just made up stories and so forth. It was interesting to me because a lot of people, even though they weren't saying the truth, but a lot of people were like, oh, my days, 14 years, no marriage, blah, blah, blah. But what if I wasn't married? And, you know, and I was just in a long-term relationship and I became a single mom. Like, so what, you know? And there's a very negative stigma about, because as soon as you become a single mom, it's like you're a baby moms. And the thing is, you know, we was in a relationship, married, didn't work out, and then we decided to part ways, actually for the better good, if that makes any sense.
Oh my God, she changed my life completely. When I went to uni, I was studying fashion, and obviously, as I said, I had her 10 days before my graduation, and after maternity leave, I went to a job. The job was horrible. Like, it was doing what I wanted to do, but my boss, my manager, was horrible. She was the worst woman I've ever worked with. But then I just thought to myself, I don't want to leave my daughter 8 hours a day to be around people I don't like, doing something that I don't care about. So that's when I decided to go into radio, and radio was always like my hobby, but it then became something that I wanted to turn into a career. So I think if I didn't have my daughter, I probably would be less reluctant to take that step. And I mean, I took a pay jump and everything, but I was doing something that I was passionate about. And I just made sure that I was happy when I was leaving my daughter in childcare. I didn't want to be miserable while I was away from her, because I just felt like it was no point. Like, both of us were losing out. And now I'm doing a career that I love, and she can see me doing something that I love, and it's something positive to show her. And I think overall she's just made me a bit stronger. Like, I was always quite timid and not let people walk all over me, but I just let things slide. But because of her, like, I don't want her to walk through life and let things slide. If she wants to stand for something, I want her to stand for it, and I want to be able to show her that by example. So I'm a lot harder since I've had her. I'm soft with her, but everyone else I'm hard with. So I think, yeah, she's made me a lot stronger, more independent.
The advice I have for young single mothers, I actually coordinate the single parent group in my local church. I always say to them, make sure you get a job that fits within your children's timetable. Even if you have to do without certain things, it's best you spend that quality time with your children, especially in primary school. Those are vital age where you have that influence. Don't be in a rush to go and get a full-time job if you can. I've done both, so I know the mistakes of juggling childcare. Your career has to take a second place. Raising the children, especially till they go through that primary school stage and go into secondary school, then I think then you can start looking in terms of career.
So I would say really don't be hard on yourself, and it is really hard, and it's I think having some sort of spiritual kind of reliance on whatever it is that feeds your soul and your spirit helps a lot, and just encourage yourself, and just know that child is like depending on you. You're their world, and you're doing really well. You have to encourage yourself. It's very important. Yeah.
What's the greatest joy? I guess just really doing everything that I had already planned and said I wanted to do, and even on top of what I said I wanted to do, like doing everything that I think my mum had said everything that was going to happen, more or less everything that was going to happen in my life, and it was more that I didn't really believe it, and only when I'd accomplished having a 6-week baby, going to university, finishing my university, getting that degree, going into work, now I'm in work, going through all of that and actually looking back, and I'm like, wow, that actually happened. Like, this isn't a fable, this is reality, this is actually my life. It's a powerful feeling, and you just keep on going. To be honest, I don't actually look back a lot. I don't actually look back and think, oh my gosh, I've come so far, unless people are asking. I'm like, yeah, come a long way,